Good morning, Rabbi.
Ketvach Shvuatov. We are in Perek Ches, Mishna is Nazir, Perek Ches, chapter 8. We're in the middle of Mishna Aleph, but we have to review from the beginning in order to be able to move forward. And, there's a bit of complicated, the calculations are a bit complicated. So let's get going. Shnei Nazir Mishamar Lahen Echad. The story started off with two Nazirim. They were walking together, and one person said to them, Re'isi Echad became Shenitma. I said, one of you became Tameh, impure, in a way that whichever one who became a Tameh has to start their counting of the Naziris over again. But I don't know which one of them it was. So we're left with two Nazirim who one of them became Tameh, one of them didn't become Tameh. They don't know which one is which. So we said the halacha is that what they have to do is, at the end of 30 days, Megalchin, they shave their heads. Umavian carbon tuma v'carbon tara. Now, by the 30 days is because they both made, we're talking about where they both together made the Naziris at the same time. They're both having a Naziris of 30 days to keep. One of them became Tamei, has to start all over again. The other one is just continuing. So what they do is they have to now, at the end of 30 days, which at least covers the person who was tar, that he's completing his Naziris. The other one is impure. Both of them now are at a point that they can cut their hair without any kind of question, because the one who's Tameh, he has to cut his hair anyway right away. The one who wasn't Tameh, he finished his term. We shall know which is which. So Megalchin, they shave their heads. Umavian carbon tuma v'carbon tahara. And together they bring an offering for tuma and offering for tahara. We know that a Nazir becomes Tameh as one set of sacrifices. A Nazir who is pure and finished his term as another set of sacrifices. One of them says to the other, if I am the one who is impure, then carbon tuma shali v'carbon tahara shalcha. The carbon of impurity is mine, carbon of purity is yours. Ve'im aniyu atar, and if I'm the one who is tar, carbon tahara shali v'carbon tuma shalach, then it comes out that the carbon tahara is mine and the carbon tuma is yours. Right? So far, so good? Okay, but that doesn't cover all the problems, because at the end of the day, whoever was, we still don't know which of them has completed his term and which one has to start all over again, right? If the guy was, one of them was Tameh, he's got to start all over again. So we don't know which one is which. So at least we covered the possibility of, one being Tameh, one being Tar. We've covered what needs to be done, especially for the person who was Tameh. In order for him to start all over again, he's got to cut his hair, he's got to bring the sacrifices. So we've covered him. And at the same time, we cover the person who's Tar. We just don't know who is which. So now again, but that's good. So that takes care of one thing. It doesn't take care, though, of, whoever which one was Tameh had to start all over again, had to complete Naziris. So v'sayf min shleishim yom, we count another 30 days of Naziris. Again, both of them have to be doing it. Umavian carbon tahara, and together they bring a set of karbanis for a Nazir who is tar, who has completed his Naziris. V'omer, and one says, Imani hu tameh, if I was the one previously that became tameh, carbon tuma shali, then the carbon tuma that was brought before is mine. The carbon tara shalcha, and the carbon tara that was done previously was yours. V'zeh carbon tara si, this is my carbon tara, because I'm the one who was tameh, I'm the one who had to redo it, and I did it. V'manihu atar, but if I was the one previously that was tar, carbon tahara shali, the carbon of purity was mine. The carbon tuma shalcha, the carbon of purity was yours. V'zeh carbon tahara sach, and this is the carbon of your tahara. Right? Because at the end of the day, depending on which one previously was tamei, he had to now redo his Naziris. It ended now, and whichever one ended, the carbon goes for him. Okay? What's the matter?
But you have one is for, they have two sets of korbanos.
Not now.
Not yet.
Originally, they had two sets of karbanis, because one was tar, one was tamei. But now, whichever one, but this new set is for sure from a carbon tara. It's for the person who was tamei before, who had to do it over again.
But if he wasn't tamei,
then it's not for him. It's for the other guy. One of them is for sure was tamei before. That wasn't the question. One of them had to redo it, had to start all over again. So at this point, we're at the point of whichever one had to fit, who was obligated to redo his Naziris, finished it now, and the carbon, we have the set of the carbon tower now for him, and we say whoever it's for it's for. Now, here is where this is the new story. Meis Echad Mehen. One of them died. One of those original guys who we had a suffix about, we had a doubt about. Did you become Tameh? Did you become Tameh? One of them died. Now, if one of them died, this whole calculation, this whole thing we just did before, is down the tubes. It's down the drain because you don't have the other guy. So what does he do? I mean, this guy is stuck. Is he he's stuck because if he's a Nazir Tameh, all right, then he has to cut his hair now, bring the sacrifices. If he's a Nazir Tar, he's not allowed to cut his hair now. So how is this guy supposed to move forward? So says the Mishnah, Rabbi Yeshua, said Rabbi Yeshua, he's got to find a very generous and kind person who will take upon himself to be a Nazir, to help this guy out. Or he can find someone who wants to be a Nazir, and he says, now's the time to be a Nazir, you can help me out. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to keep 2 terms of Naziris, as we shall see. It's not going to be so simple. It's not someone to be a Nazir, and in this case, he can't just be a Nazir once. He's going to have to, let's call it this way, he's going to have to observe Naziris twice. So what's the story here? Find someone who will take upon himself to be a Nazir, opposite you, meaning to help you out. And now what happens is the surviving Nazir will become the surviving Nazir, right? The surviving Nazir is the one who says, Im Tameh Hayisi, if I became Tameh before, Harei Ata Nazir Miyad, you are immediately a Nazir. Okay? Vim Tar Hayisi, and if I was the pure one, Harei Ata Nazir Acha Shleishim Yom, you make yourself a Nazir after 30 days. So basically what's happening is he's saying, if I'm Tameh, which means I need to start all over again right now, but I don't know if I can or I can't. What happens is you become a Nazir right now. If I'm really Tameh and I have to cut my hair and start all over again, if that's what the situation is, you become a Nazir right now for the next 30 days. It's a 30-day Naziris. But if I'm the Tar one, right, then you will be a Nazir in 30 days from now. Now, the Seif in Shleishim Yom, they count 30 days. Umevian carbon tumah carbon tahara, and together they bring a carbon of impurity and a carbon of purity. Now, the carbon of impurity, right? For the new Nazir, he never became Tameh. That's not the issue. The carbon for impurity is for the surviving Nazir who may have been the Nazir who became Tameh. But again, together they're landing up bringing a set of carbonis for a Nazir that was impure, their carbon tahara, and together they'll bring a set of carbonis that is for a Nazir who is tar and completed his term, v'omer. And now the surviving Nazir says, Imani hu atameh, if I was the guy who was tameh before, then carbon tumah, then the animals that are for a carbon of a Nazir became tameh are mine. The carbon tahara shalcha and the carbon of purity are yours. Now don't forget, if I'm the tameh one, right, then you started your Naziris 30 days ago. Right? I have to wait 30 days because I have to wait now for you to I have to wait 30 days more because I got to get ready for you to be able to help me out. Because if I'm the tameh one, I was supposed to cut my hair before, but I couldn't. So now it's 30 days later, working with the possibility that the new Nazir now has completed his Naziris and he needs to bring a set of animals for a carbon of a Nazir completed. So again, the surviving Nazir says, if I was the one that was impure, carbon shali, the carbon of impurity is for me, the carbon tara shalcha, and the carbon of purity is for yours. You just completed your Naziris. But if I was the one who was pure before, right? That means that I have to go ahead. But if I'm the one who was tar before, then what happened during these 30 days was that you acted as a Nazir, but you really weren't a Nazir. You really weren't a Nazir, but you acted as a Nazir in order to help me out on the other, if the case I was impure. But now, if it comes that I'm the impure, I'm the pure one, then it's already probably past my time that I need to conclude my Naziris and bring my sacrifices for concluding my Naziris. If I'm the Tara one, carbon Tara Shali, the carbon of purity is mine. And what about the carbon Tuma? Who's that for? No one's Tame. If I'm the one who was Tar before, and these carbonas are for me because I completed it, and you're not even starting, you're just starting your real Naziris, who's the carbon Tuma for? The answer is a carbon Tuma besafik. And the carbon Tuma is in doubt. Now here we come to something very new, something very novel. Because we have always mentioned the fact that you cannot bring a sin offering voluntarily. You have to know that you sinned. If you didn't sin, you can't bring the carbon. If you have an asham carbon, a guilt offering, you got to know that you're liable, if you're obligated. If you're not, you can't bring it. And a person here, a person who was a Nazir became Tameh, he has a sin offering to bring, he has a guilt offering to bring, but so how could you bring that Misafik? Misafik basically means, the carbon Tuma was brought Misafik. How could you bring it Misafik? Because something's going to happen. When you brought the animals and nothing happened with it? I mean, something has to happen with them. Something has to happen with them. And so at the end of the day, again, we have a set of carbonas that are meant for a carbon for a Nazir who is Tameh, but it's possible we never even have here a Nazir who's Tameh. Well, we got to bring it in case there is. How do we bring it? The answer is, the halacha is, this is also a novel idea. Chata sa'if abal atuma safek. I'm sorry. The carbon tuma is safek. Chata sa'if abal atuma safek ve'ena necheles. There is a rule, an exception to the rule. There is a sin offering that can be brought in doubt, and that is a bird sin offering. Now, a sin offering from a bird. There are certain sin offerings that have to come from a bird. Okay? Those sin offerings from a bird can be brought in doubt. You're not going to eat it. Typically, a sin offering is eaten by the Kohanim. You're not going to eat it because it's a doubt, but you're allowed to bring it out of that in doubt. And therefore, what comes out here is like this. What comes out is that what you have is the bird chata is an exception to the rule, and it can be brought even in cases of doubt. Thus, this Nazir brings his bird chatas out of doubt without the asham. This is enough to allow him to start counting his naziras again. Because we're following the opinion that in order for a Nazir was tam, in order for him to be able to start over again, it's enough that he went in and he brought it's enough that he brought his bird sin offering. If that was brought, that now he can start all over. He can cut his hair, he can start all over again. So at the end of the day, the carbon tuma is brought out of doubt. But that's okay, because one of them is allowed to be brought out of doubt, and one is enough to allow him to start all over again. Now, all right, so we hit the first 30 days. But now, we still don't know, did the new Nazir, when did he start his Naziris? Did he start it previously? Did he just start it now? So therefore, the Mishnah says, the Seif in Shleishim Yom Avian carbon Tahara. And then they count another 30 days and bring a carbon of purity. Okay? They bring a carbon of purity. Both of them bring it. The Omer, and again, the surviving Nazir says, Imani hu atame. If I'm the one who was originally impure, then carbon tuma shali, then the carbon of impurity for a Nazir that was impure was mine. The carbon tara shalcha, the carbon of purity was yours. It was yours. Right? Vizer carbon tara si, and now this is my carbon of purity. Because I'm the one you did your Naziris before. I'm just doing it now. I'm just making it up now. The manihu atar, and if I was the one who was originally pure, carbon tyra shali, the carbon of purity was mine. The carbon tuma besafe, the carbon tuma was brought out of doubt. Vizero carbon tarascha, and this is your carbon of purity. Because what happens is that each one, when they were keeping their Naziris of purity, kept it at different times. When one was doing purity, when one was a Nazir who was Tameh, if the original was a Nazir who was Tameh, then the other guy, the new guy, he was doing his Naziris. And if the other guy was the one who was pure, then he didn't. Then the new guy didn't start his Naziris until after the other guy had finished. So therefore, this is how we cover everybody's bases. And but again, you need a very generous and giving person. And the next and this we're going to stop here today. We'll Mitzvah Hashem conclude tomorrow, but tomorrow is going to be Ben Zayma, who says, like, it's not so easy to get a guy to do that. So there has to be another solution to the problem, and that we'll see Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Good
Thank
Tavach.
you very much.
Shavua Tov.
Now,